Hey guys, today we'll talk about a subject that no one really wants to learn about, yet it is probably the number one reason many players go busto and end up quitting the game. That topic is bankroll management and, to a lesser extent, tilt control. What makes bankroll management so important is that in poker, our bankroll is all we have. It's what keeps us alive and allows us to play. Once that balance hits zero, you're out of the game. Personally, I like the game, and I'd rather be in it than out. That's why, for as long as I can remember, I have always made bankroll management my top priority. If you're smart with your money, you can take a minuscule amount and turn it into a fortune. It's been done many times before. It really just comes down to an exercise in patience, discipline, and overcoming temptation. I think the big reason that bankroll management is ignored is the fact that a lot of people are drawn to poker for the money. And only the money. To them, the game is just a means of getting that big money, but they're playing for the wrong reasons. If you're watching this video and are a subscriber to Grips.com, you're hopefully playing poker for the right reasons. You enjoy the game, you just want to be good at it. You don't like losing. Everyone knows that winning is a million times more fun than losing. So, why is playing for money the wrong reason? Well, in short, it's not the wrong reason per se. Just having this money focus leads to some bad habits. If you only enjoy the thrill of big money, odds are you've made a deposit to a poker site and put it all on the line, just hoping to run up a big stack, but ending up busto in a short period, the majority of the time. The best way to learn to play properly is to play at low limits where the competition is much softer. If you can ignore the fact that maybe you're winning $2 an hour and making less than a minimum wage job at first, perfect. Because when you do play for big money, you'll have the proper skill set and enjoy a higher likelihood of success than those who are reckless. Too many times I've heard people say they want to learn to be great players, but they just can't play for $10 stacks. It's not worth it to them. To be blunt, unless you're willing to learn at low stakes, you're wasting your time, and I'd rather have you as an opponent than a student. If you want to be successful, my advice will ensure that learning to be a strong player will cost you next to nothing money-wise. It is the time investment that's important. So playing smart poker, here are my bankroll recommendations that will keep you from going busto. Cash games, 40 buy-ins for whatever stake you're playing. Sit and goes, 60 buy-ins for, again, whatever stake you're playing. And finally, for multi-table tournaments, I recommend having 100 buy-ins. Now, if you're wondering why I wrote unlimited money up here, it's pretty simple. If you play within your bankroll, you'll always be able to desensitize yourself from the pain of losing money, losing a stack, because it'll be a small percent relative to your total money, your total bankroll. Since you'll be winning more than losing, I hope, and you invest only a small portion at a time, it should feel like you have unlimited money to play your poker games, because you can always reload, you can always have a full stack. You just never feel like you're running on empty. Now I want you to remember, these are the minimum number of buy-ins you must have to play a certain stake. If your bankroll ever drops below the minimum requirements, you should drop stakes to rebuilds. By dropping stakes when you still have a large amount of buy-ins, you will make sure you never go broke. Downswings happen, but to go broke following my system, you'd have to lose 40 buy-ins at every stake, starting at wherever you're at, maybe 1-2. You'd have to lose there, you'd have to lose 40 at 51, 25, 50, all the way down. And that sort of downswing just doesn't happen unless you're a weak player, and if you're a weak player, well, hopefully I can turn you into a strong one so it doesn't happen. I know it will be frustrating sometimes having to move down stakes, but all the best players have done it. Again, it's just part of the learning process. So, why is the requirement higher for MTTs than it is for cash games? The answer would be variance. Tournaments are much more luck dependent than cash games. This is why we often see absolute nobodies winning tournaments. This doesn't mean there's no skill involved, it just means that luck plays a bigger role, and thus variance will determine whether we win or lose in these short-run games. Cash games also involve luck. Well, obviously it's gambling. But since cash games can be repeated over and over, you can't lose your cash game life as you can in a tournament when you run out of chips. It's more skill dependent and less luck dependent. Whereas the tournaments are in a small time frame, short run, it's all about the luck. By having enough buy-ins, adequate buy-ins, you'll be able to play enough hands to see the coolers balance out. For every bad beat you take, you'll dish one back. For every setup hand you get, you'll get reverse setup back. You'll always have enough money to reload, because you should have enough money for the stake you're playing. And since you can play to eternity on your bankroll if you follow the restrictions, you can, in essence, hit the long run, where it all comes down to skill. This long run case, as I said, will never be true in tournaments because they're a short run game. Even multi-table tournament pros go long periods without winnings. That's why I suggest being very conservative when investing in MTTs and primarily focusing on cash gameplay, where you can actually grind out a consistent profit and then just play tournaments for fun. Or once you develop as a player, you can play them for the big shots to win the lottery, as I look at it. Playing cash without adequate buy-ins, though, is similar to a tournament. A few bad beats can send you packing to the rail with $0 left and no way to recover other than depositing more money. And here at Grips.com, we aren't too big on making more than one deposit, so just make sure you have adequate buy-ins for whatever you're playing if you want to be a successful player. Also, adequate buy-ins will allow you to play confidently. I'll admit it, I've played over my head before, and I'm sure some of you have too. It sucks. I play like a little girl when I'm playing above my head. So passive, easy to bluff, afraid to pull the trigger on a big move because the money seems so big. What I'm trying to say is, playing under bankrolled leads to poor play. Everyone plays different when they don't have that unlimited money feeling, and very, very few people play better under these circumstances. So follow the bankroll rules. Don't be scared money. It's just a recipe for disaster if you're going to play short rolled. It's just reckless. So if you follow my advice so far, you should feel like you have the unlimited bankroll. You'll always have enough to reload. You'll be playing at a stake you're comfortable at. But this doesn't mean you aren't going to tilt, because everybody does it. Take a few bad beats in a row and your game will definitely slip. I'm guilty of not following the advice that I'm about to give, but if I had, I would have saved a lot of cash, that's for sure. Before you sit down, and during a session, if you take some beats, ask yourself, am I playing my best game? Make sure you aren't doing things you wouldn't normally do. Typical tilting adjustments include calling raises without proper odds, hoping to hit a miracle hand, re-raising when you shouldn't, just to push people back and hope they'll fold, limping trash, hoping to spike big again, and making big, crying hero calls with hands that, are probably no good. And remember, we don't really like to call, we like to bet. But when I'm tilting, I do make these calls, so if you catch yourself doing that, you're tilting. So remember these signs. If you see yourself exhibiting any of them, just take a break for an hour, 2, maybe even a day. The poker games are always going to be there. There will always be donks and fish. Just because the game is good right now doesn't mean you need to play it. If you're not feeling your best, don't play. Odds are those same opponents will still be there tomorrow or a couple days later or next week, whenever they choose to play. You're not going to miss the action. You're not going to miss the boat just because you take a day off. You should only play when you're playing your best if you want to see the best results. And finally, we have downswings, the devil of poker. For those of you who don't know what a downswing is, I mean losing multiple buy-ins, like 10. For some people, 4 would be a downswing. I've heard of people with 40 buy-in downswings, but I think 10 is a good sign of a significant downswing. Something we don't want to be having frequently. But there's no way around it. When variance just whoops us, downswings are going to happen. The tighter you play, the more rare they're going to be. And, if you play full ring as opposed to short-handed, you'll also have less variance, so not a serious downswing. But they still happen. Even the best players have plenty of downswings over the course of their career. But if you followed my above rules and dropped stakes when suggested, your downswings shouldn't hurt too much. Just know that we've all been there before. It sucks, but if we never lost, we'd never try to improve. And that's why you're here at grips.com, isn't it? Because you want to get better. So always try to play your A game, and the checks will come. I hope you enjoy this lesson on smart poker and money management. This is Grips. See you next time.